Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to the Ground Up Show. My guest today is Cody Wanner, and he's got a YouTube channel. He's a filmmaker. He creates a daily vlog where each and every day he uploads videos inspiring and encouraging the world to keep creating, no matter how big your audience is.
If you haven't been following me, that means like this is our first time meeting. My name's Cody Wanner. I'm a daily vlogger. I got ADD. What else? I love making vids.
On the podcast, we talk about how to overcome roadblocks, when to say yes to things, and why there is no such thing as a small creator.
I don't believe there is such thing as small creation. Creation is so, it's synonymous with something very big. It's massive, it's epic, it's awesome.
This is Cody Wanner. Cody, thank you so much for coming on.
So great to
the
be here.
Show. Such last second. 2 days ago, Colin and Samir, good friends of mine, said, "Hey, you got to get this dude on the podcast. He's going to be in town for a couple days."
Yeah.
And I had seen a collab that you had done with Peter McKinnon.
Yep.
That made things a little bit weird for you.
Yeah. Made the weird stuff happen.
So why don't we start by you giving like a brief, like what's been happening over the past month or so.
Sure.
And then we could always dive back and talk about how you got here and how you started your channel and all that.
Sure. It started about 6 weeks ago with the DM from Peter McKinnon, which was like, hey, come up to Toronto, make a video with me. And that's so things started to, the whirlwind started at that point, but it was just inside of me, inside of my mind. And got it set up with Peter, went up, had a blast with Peter for the entire day. He was dropping so many just bangers of this YouTube channel, this, and cinematography, this, and photography, this, and Instagram, this, and I'm just recording this thing. I try to do my vlogs in short format, 6 minutes a piece, and I'm like, there's no way that this is ever gonna work. I'm recording with this massive YouTuber, and I'm thinking, I'm losing, and so I got back that night. I cut the video the next morning. Thankfully, there was my wife's voice just resonating in my ears, which was like, it doesn't need to be anything different than what you do. It actually needs to be what you do, because you don't want to make something that's different, have a bunch of people come, and then have them all be disappointed when you go back to what you're used to doing. So I cut it. It's just mine was like a fun video. Drop it. My whole audience loved it. They couldn't believe that I was up there with him and making the video. And then he dropped his, and it was just it was an absolute game changer. He really trumpeted and kind of supported and directed people toward this whole idea of no small creator and this kind of movement, of it doesn't matter how big your following is, you're still doing something amazing by creating. And a lot of people resonated with it, and about 20,000 of his followers came over to my channel and subscribed. So after that, I think the YouTube algorithm kind of saw the spike in my subscribers. So I got put in whatever pool that is for Creator on the Rise. I got Creator on the Rise then, I think just over a week ago, but it could have even been less than that. It has been a whirlwind still. Some more people came then, and then I've just kind of been steadily growing, and the support from kind of the original 80-person No Small Creator community, which is just the Facebook page, has been crazy because we're all excited. We're all really excited. It feels like the movement got like this massive blast of kind of gasoline or something. And so tweeting it all out, and it's growing. I think the Facebook group is at like 700 people YouTube, creators who are kind of embracing this mindset of it doesn't matter what the following is. I'm just doing this because I love it.
That's amazing. For those who don't know who Peter McKinnon is, who is he, but more specifically, who is he to you? Because it wasn't just like he just picked you out of a hat.
Right. Yeah, so Casey Neistat, obviously, or maybe not obviously, Casey Neistat was the first vlogger that I ever saw where I was like, what is that? And how do you tell a story that way? And what, just really intrigued by it. That was 2 years ago. And I thought I have the personality for a vlog. I have the technical ability for a vlog. I should do that. And then didn't do it for a long time. Somewhere in there, somebody introduced me to Peter McKinnon's YouTube channel and kind of gave a new twist on vlogging, which is like you can be a cinematographic vlogger. You can make things look absolutely amazing, like visually compelling in vlog style. And that sort of like pushed me even further toward the direction. So, Peter was was extremely formative for me in how I thought about when I started the vlog, how it should feel and what it should look like and what it should be. And so, watch his videos. I'm a very big fan. And he's got, I think, now 2.3 million. I think he had 2.2 million subscribers at the time that we did the collaboration. But just a big YouTuber, super positive, energetic guy, and yeah, that's Peter McKinnon.
When did you get into filmmaking? Has this been... Because recently, January 1st, of 2018, you decided to do something different, which was daily vlogging.
Right.
Which I would love to hear what your wife's reaction was and the kind of support she gave you. But like, how did you get to that point? Like, were you were filmmaking? I think you said that you had a wedding business.
Yep.
That, I don't know if you still operate that business.
Yep.
Give me that background.
Sure. So I studied film in college, and that graduated from college in 2009. Worked for a company in Philadelphia as an assistant producer, just writing metadata on cable TV shows. And then left the industry for about 2 years, did fundraising, got back into it as a freelancer, started a company with 2 other partners that was mostly wedding business, and then transitioned that to primarily commercial, short form commercial video production. And that's where we're at right now. That's our primary target is small to medium sized businesses who want to get an online digital video footprint.
That's great. So weddings kind of got you into it in the beginning, and then you started to try to move away from it?
Yep. And then so after starting daily vlogging, I got the idea of the wedding industry. There needs to be more same day edits, that because of Instagram stories, everybody wants their wedding, they want their wedding video immediately. And so we launched a brand actually called Immediate, where we do same day edits of weddings. So we did just jump back into the wedding industry.
Yeah, I love that idea. I actually used to do weddings. That's how I started out.
Yeah.
And I've done maybe like 40, 50 weddings. Like really an amazing way to develop your skills and to learn. And there is like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like, shooting a presidential inauguration, but there is a stress to it in that world, to them, it's everything.
It is. I mean, it needs to be good.
Yeah.
You need to do it. I mean, I think we're still at the point where photos are even the level of pressure is even higher. Because like if your wedding photos don't turn out, it's like, what are you even doing with your life? But I think video is slowly getting there, just with like the YouTube generation. We all started to grow up with video at some point. So everyone's expecting it.
I mean, the quality, it's kind of wild. When I started, it was, I had a Canon XH-A1, and you had to have a light on top of your camera because when you were shooting the reception, you would see nothing.
It's just black.
Yeah, but then like now the DSLRs came out, the Canon 5D, and then you could have like a 1.2 lens, and that was just game changing to be like, holy cow, like you can really, I don't have to disrupt somebody.
Yeah.
But the quality is getting better and better. Have you seen, because I actually worked a lot around Philadelphia around that time.
Yeah.
And you're from Harrisburg, PA, right?
Right.
What's the industry like in those kind of small communities?
Yeah.
Outside of really a big city, you're connected to the big city, but you're also working in like smaller markets. Are
Right.
there lots of competition there for like small production companies?
Yeah, they're just like right in our, 1 mile radius of us. I think there's 5 production companies, most of whom are bigger than we are. So there's a lot of, they all kind of have their own different niche. And then when it comes to wedding cinematography, I mean, if you look on Wedding Wire, there's like 60 that serve my area, you know?
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of competition. I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. I think you either need to differentiate yourself on price, which, you know, when you do that, you know, the bride and groom starts wondering, well, what sort of quality am I going to get? Or differentiate yourself on service, which is what we try to do with Immediate. You know, our only offering is a same day edit. So I think it's good. I like the competition. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think sometimes people get a little bit too anxious and they think that there's only so much to
Right.
go around.
Right.
And they think that they get competitive with it.
Yeah.
Where I think that, say if you're like working with other production companies, there's something to be said of like not stealing people's work.
Yeah.
But then there's also like, there's plenty of people out there that want weddings. There's plenty of work to be done. As long as you're like getting better and improving
Right.
and have some value to offer,
Right.
you can find a way to make a living doing it.
Weddings will always be happening.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to end. Small businesses will always be being created, and they'll need branding and they'll need a footprint.
So the daily vlog.
Yeah.
What talk about the lead up to that?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there was some preparation. Even was it December 31st? You were like,
It kind of was that. So, but kind of not. So, as I mentioned, 2 years ago was when I got the idea, and it took me a year and a half to actually execute it. So there were about 4 conversations in there with my wife of like, what if I started a daily vlog? And, you know, we just would always come down. It's not the right time. We have small kids and all that sort of thing. So wasn't the right time. At the end of 2017, I was reading like a motivational sales book by a guy named Grant Cardone. And he said, if there's something you've been thinking about that you know you need to do, stop thinking about it and just do it. And immediately I was like, that's the vlog. And I came home to Amber, my wife, and I said, I really want to start this vlog. And for some reason she was like, all right, I think you've been talking about it long enough. Like, I know you're serious about it. Let's do it. So on December 31st, I grabbed a camera from my production company and a really old, I think off-brand tripod, Joby Gorilla tripod, and went to the beer store and like held the camera out, you know, and just made sure I could talk to a camera in public. And then once I was like, okay, well, I did that, I said, I got to start it. So I started on January 1st.
You took the first step. That's the hardest part. But I think that idea of like making sure that this is really something you want to do is a good thing, because so many times we pick up or we get like super fired, I'm going to start this business. And then you like do all this work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know Seth Godin's Dip, where it's just like there's all this rush of excitement and it's so fun. And then everything's great. And then all of a sudden you like lose all the drive and then it's over.
Right.
But really knowing and being committed to being like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to stick with it. I'm sure it wasn't easy though from the beginning.
No, I think it really comes down to motivation. Like, why was I doing it? What was the why? And I think that's the question that everybody who's starting a YouTube channel or creating anything, a business even, needs to ask themselves, why am I doing it? And because when you hit that dip or when you're not getting the results that you hoped you were getting, if you can come back to that why, you'll be able to push through that. I think.
Right, because if the reason you're doing it is for the results,
right,
you're never gonna stick with it.
You're
It's
not
like,
gonna see them.
You think about like picking up a workout routine.
Yeah.
If you don't actually truly enjoy the workout that you're doing, no matter how tough it is, you're not gonna stick through. If like you have to get a 6-pack abs.
Right.
Not everybody's gonna have a 6-pack abs, no matter how hard they work out.
Right.
You have to actually enjoy the activity and the process of it.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
So how did so you're going every day?
Yeah.
What were there any milestones along the way in the first month or two where and what are you vlogging about? Right. I think that's a big thing. A lot of people are like, how do I create a video every single day about my life?
Yeah.
My life is boring.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest questions is how do you get ideas? How do you get topics? So what I'm vlogging about, since I have a small business, I started a small business and I'm creative, I'm initially vlogging about, I'm trying to encourage entrepreneurs and creators. That was kind of the tagline of my channel. And I recently expanded it to just doers. Like, if you want to get something done, I want to help you do it and encourage you to do it. I'm a natural encourager. I get life from encouraging other people. So for me, it just seemed like the best platform, literally the best platform to be able to encourage other people at potentially a scale, you know? And yeah, so every day, you know, I would go in and I say that for 113 days, I made vlogs that I didn't really love. You know, I would just try to figure out something new and try to improve a little bit, like you mentioned. And I think that I would. And yeah, you know, pick a different topic. How's this going to fit into my day? Well, I don't like the way that all cut together. That was really weird, but I had to hit upload because I'd committed.
I think that's the crazy thing
Yeah.
is because like I'll certainly work through videos and be like, this is not working. This
Yeah.
is not working.
Yeah.
I have mine's not 7. Is it 7 a week? You're doing every single day?
Every day, yeah.
Okay. So 7 days a week. I only have to do that twice when I do the podcast, and I just do at least one video per week.
Yeah.
And there certainly have been times where I'm like uploading it and I'm like, this is garbage.
This is not good.
This is really not a good video. But then you see the comments, people are like, this is great. I love
Yeah.
this. And I'm like,
Okay.
all right, sure.
Right.
But like, how do you balance that between like expectations and your own personal standards?
I mean, I think it's good that I generally feel like there's a lot of room for growth in every single one of my videos. And Colin and Samira and I were having a similar conversation where, you know, you're about to hit upload and you're like, I think Samir told me he actually couldn't hit upload like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He had to have Colin come over and hit the publish button.
No way.
Right, because it was just like you get so in your head about it, but yeah, what the audience thinks, that's one thing. What you think and seeing the room for growth, I mean, that's what keeps it super interesting for me. Is how do I become a master at this? Like, will I ever have? Casey Neistat has his one vlog that he calls like my all-time greatest, you know?
What was it?
I don't know. I don't think I've actually watched it, but it's like, will I ever get that? Will I ever find perfection, you know? And I don't think that I will. And I think that that's kind of what's fun about it is striving towards it, but never being able to hit it.
I think there's a lightness to your videos and like a weirdness
Yeah.
to them as well. Quirky. That's like, so many people I think take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's
Right.
like maybe they're a little bit light in person, and then once they turn the camera on, it's business,
Get real
professional.
rigid.
Yeah. From the beginning, was that obvious that like was it easy to be yourself on camera and to be light like that?
No. So that's when I say 113, that's what I mean. I wasn't able to fully kind of relax into who I was on camera for that entire time. And I think that is really actually very much in parallel to my life up to this point. I'm 32 years old. And this whole idea of kind of accepting who we are while still trying to improve is one of kind of the underlying themes of my vlog. Is like, well, I'm this way. I'm late. I'm always late. Why am I always late? And is that okay? And what does that mean? Is that a cultural thing? You know, all of that sort of stuff. And I don't think like other people, and I don't look like other people, and I don't laugh like other people. And like, is that all okay? And kind of just letting that unfold on screen for me is something that's really interesting and fun. So I have kind of a deal with myself that if I ever say, oh, I think I'm going to cut this, and I'm like in editing and I see myself say that on camera, I have a deal with myself that I'll put that in.
That's amazing.
Because if I feel embarrassed about what just happened, I feel like that is one of the most encouraging things for a person to see is this is something I don't need to be embarrassed. I can show my true self to the world, and that's okay. And so to kind of lead by example in that way.
There's like an element where you have to be vulnerable and open yourself up to
Right.
people maybe making fun of you.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I mean, that's probably our biggest fear, right? When we put stuff out there into the world is that people will think that we're stupid or that we're dumb or we're not talented. And does that go away for you? I mean, it's creating every single day. I imagine some of it has to sort of, or maybe it's still a fight.
Right. It's still a fight for me. I mean, every day Every day it's a fight for me because I'm a people pleaser. I really want everybody to love me. You know, it's
going to be harder as the larger your audience gets.
Oh yeah, and so that's been a super fun challenge for me is reframing dislikes and reframing kind of more hateful comments and thinking about, well, what does this mean and am I gonna let this affect me or not? You know, it's been a fantastic journey, like to be able to deal with those things and kind of move through them and with them and yeah.
It's almost, I think, impossible to ignore a thumbs down dislike.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it.
Yeah.
You always see it.
Right.
You always see like the first one. You're like, well, okay, there it is.
There's my dislike.
I didn't make a perfect video.
For everybody.
Right. But then it's like, same thing with people unsubscribing or unfollowing you.
Yeah.
You have to see the good in that. Mm-hmm. You're like, well, that person, they probably wouldn't have been my friend, or maybe it wasn't right for them at the time.
Right.
But it's not to take anything personally, which I think is it's hard to do, but it's something that can be achieved.
When someone unsubscribes, I like to say maybe they've gotten everything they needed from me, and now they're just gonna go out there like they can't even spend the 6 minutes to watch my stuff anymore. Like they're doing their own thing, they're changing the world. You know, because like we're just assuming everything. Everything's an assumption. So why not assume something that could potentially benefit us and make us feel better instead of worse?
Yeah, especially from behind a computer screen.
Yeah.
Everything is an assumption.
You
read into
everything.
one sentence where it could be sarcasm, it could be said in the most upbeat, positive way, but we are just assuming that person's intentions.
Right. And I mean, and also, right, it's just there's so much that goes into it. And that's another underlying theme of my channel is I want to set a good example of this is how you deal with people who disagree with you on the internet. You know, there wasn't a rule book for us when we were growing up. How old are you?
30.
There wasn't a rule book for when we were growing up about how to handle a troll or when someone is like cyberbullying. You know, like we just now we're starting to talk about like the anti-bullying stuff in school in real life. But like we're online now and it is moving way faster than any rule books were moving, right? So I want to be helping to write that rule book of how to be gracious to people who are mean and how to just keep the collective kind of direction of our society moving in a we can work together instead of let's cut ties the second that we disagree.
I love that. So since you're creating videos every single day, that means that you probably have to say no to a lot of stuff.
Right.
How do you balance that? Because I mean, it's probably there may be some big ambitious ideas for a video you have to do, but you're like, I don't know if I can do that because I still need to make a video and click upload by the end of the day.
Right. That happens so often to me. I have this massive idea, and the other day I was tweeting out, does anybody have a helicopter? Does anybody have a speedboat? And just these big ideas and trying to get people to help you in 2 hours or 3 hours is not culturally acceptable. It's like if you gave me a week, if we plan this out a week ahead of time, I'm not good at planning a week ahead of time. So I have constant big ideas that don't get to happen. I think that that's another thing to kind of showcase that it's okay when you have an idea and you try to get it and you don't. One of my favorite videos is when I tried to get this idea done and I completely failed. And like the video just turned into a big fail, and it's like I failed. And I thought about what if I did it overnight and just realized if I truly want to encourage creators, I need to show them that they're not. If I want to encourage creators and I'm getting every single idea I have executed, that's not encouraging. That's discouraging because they're like, I never get my stuff executed. Like I can't get it done. So I kind of got to lead that way. There was something else I wanted to say to that, but yeah.
We do have a tendency to obviously put our best selves out there. And I think that's what a vlog can do and a podcast can do is that a podcast is long form. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to fake it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And same thing with the consistency of putting up a video every single day. You just can't fake it. You can't not be yourself at some point. Eventually the walls are going to break down.
Right.
How do you find being authentic? Authentic is one of those words that everybody kind of throws around.
Right.
How do you be authentic?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting idea, authenticity, especially on a YouTube channel. because I think we are all different versions of ourselves to the different people that we're with in our lives. And like, so even right now, for all of my followers who are listening to this, and I'm going to blast it out, so they're going to be listening. They're probably thinking, wow, Cody's tone of voice is lower than it normally is. Like, he normally sounds a little bit more amped than this, right? So like, but that's because of this format. We're in your dining room. We're sitting face to face.
We just met about 30 minutes ago.
Exactly. We all have these slightly different versions of ourselves that we give to the people that are around us, because we know, at least for me, I'm reading you and I'm trying to think of, in this situation, what's going to serve Matt best and what's going to serve me best, and how are we going to get to the desired end goal as quickly as possible, and like, what are we trying to get out of this, right? And we're doing that. We're reading into that every single day of our lives with every single person we meet. The interesting thing about YouTube is you're not just talking to one person. You're talking to a lot of people. And so for me, that started to feel like, well, then who should I be trying to serve? Who should I be trying to adapt to and reflect? And it very quickly became, I decided I should be adapting to and reflecting myself, my actual true self, how I feel inside, like who am I really? And so that turned into this very excitable, weird, flipping out guy, just constantly yelling and running and jumping and stuff, and karate kicks and stuff like that, and a kid inside of me. And so yeah, authenticity is an interesting thing. I think that it's very easy to point at someone and say, well, they're not being authentic there. But it's like, well, you don't know what the context is. You don't know what context are they in, and and how is that affecting how they're thinking about what they should be offering and what they want and what the other person wants, all that stuff.
It sounds like vlogging in a way has become therapy for you.
It's become therapy. It's been like the biggest practice in self-awareness that I've ever undertaken. Yeah, it's cathartic, it's therapeutic.
And there's a lot of growth that comes with it too. Like, if you were to look at the past couple months versus maybe the past couple years before then, would you see like a rapid amount of growth in what you've learned about yourself from just creating so much?
Right. I mean, it's mostly seeing the pitfalls, seeing the massive gaps that I have in my life that I'm like, oh my goodness, I am horrible at that. Or, it just...
Which is good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people try to shout, like, no, you're perfect just the way you are. It's like, you got a lot of work to do,
right.
dude.
No, I got a lot of work to do. And right, when I started saying, just saying like on the, in public speaking, saying like, that's a small one. But when every day I would be apologizing to someone new for being late, like, that's a legitimate thing that happens, and granted, it was happening more because I was vlogging. I'm like taking time to set up shots and tell a story as I'm trying to go about my day, but it's something that I really started to think about, spending time on my phone. How focused am I as a father when I'm with my girls? What type of time and amount of time am I giving to my wife? Just all of the different things. Seeing massive gaps and holes and realizing, all right, there's work to do.
I think that what's scary is that for a lot of people, changes happen subtly over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. Like, we're adults now, but we weren't always adults. We were once babies and then kids, and then eventually we just slowly morph and grow. And a lot of times it's based upon our environment. It's the people that we're around. It's the books that we're exposed to. Mm-hmm. And I think that you have to take a responsibility for the changes that are going to happen to your life, because the decisions you make today are going to affect you in a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
And so much of the time we're focused on these like short-term emotions.
Right.
Like, I feel uncomfortable in this situation. I feel uncomfortable doing this public speech, so I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
Or I'm not going to do that interview because I'm like scared I'm going to sound stupid.
Right.
And if you keep doing that, what's the person you're going to be in 5 years?
Yeah. A scaredy cat.
A scaredy cat.
But no, I completely agree. And it's so interesting that you even said it that way. Just yesterday I was talking with one of my great friends, Hector, about this idea of growth and this idea of kind of confronting those issues specifically within my marriage. And I was telling Hector, most of the conversations that Amber and I have right now aren't super easy, fun, happy feeling conversations. They're hard conversations. And, they're ones that don't feel great. But that's because we're less concerned with how we feel day to day in the moment. We're more concerned with like the longevity and the health of our marriage, right? And our family. So that's a parallel there. It's like, yeah, do you want to feel good right now, or do you want to actually grow and succeed and accomplish things that you had always dreamed of accomplishing?
You really do have to have these really uncomfortable conversations all the time.
All the time.
Like, I remember early on in the relationship, it's like I would always lean into these conversations where I didn't know the right thing to say. Like, I almost stumbled into it and be like, I kind of want to talk about something. And like, I don't know how to say this, but this makes me feel weird.
Right.
And if I hadn't done that, that's just resentment building and building.
Yep.
Because, and then for whatever reason, you lash out on that person. But you have to take responsibility. That was your fault for not bringing that up, for not saying, hey, let's have a conversation about this because it makes me feel weird. And then it never goes away, though, right? Like, if you've been married 20 years, you still have to have those kinds of conversations, because if not, then you're going to, like I said, build up resentment for them.
The gap just grows and grows.
Yeah. So back on like creators, no small creator.
Yeah.
Amazing. Is this a tagline, I guess?
Right.
This is like a manifesto.
It's a manifesto.
What does that mean? Like, why did no small creator, why did that resonate with you?
Yeah. So it started as a rant. I was talking about small creators and how like small creators have a harder time kind of getting brand deals, getting like products from brands and stuff like that. And I was like, so what if Boosted Board would send out 10 boosted boards to small creators, and then, small creators this, and as I'm saying small creator over and over again, like everything inside of me is just like pushing against this term. And I realized it's because I don't believe there is such thing as small creation. Creation is so like, it's synonymous with something very big. It's massive, it's epic, it's awesome. And so small creator is an oxymoron. And so I did a little side rant on that video. Someone in the comments was like, I'm not a small creator. And I was like, I think people are going to resonate with this idea. And so I shortened it at the hashtag, you are no small creator, hashtag no small creator, and started using the hashtag as much as I could. And started getting calls, like people finding my phone number online and saying like, what is no small creator? Do you have to like pay to get into it? Like, what is it? Because it's awesome. And I'm like, no, it's just a hashtag. Like, there's a Facebook group, you can join it, we could talk. So it started to grow. I made a video then specifically like about that concept of there's no small creator. And that was in the end, or just recently, a video that Peter McKinnon resonated with, a message, an idea that you have to think about creation as something massive. There's not such thing as a small creation. Right.
And if you think of yourself as small early on, which most creators have very small followings. Mm-hmm. They're not creating for lots and lots of people.
Correct.
But in order to grow, you need to be able to think of yourself as somebody worth creating
100%
content for.
100%. I just think, that's why it really freaks me out. If someone would ever say, I'm a small creator, it's like, well, okay. But when I was making content from the beginning, I was thinking about millions of people. I was thinking about the millions of people that I was talking to. I was taking action as though, here, let's put it this way. Somebody from the No Small Creator group just the other day, she said, I was thinking, I'm supposed to upload on Thursday, but I was going to upload on Friday instead. Do you think I should let everybody know, or do you think I should just do it? Because I don't really have that big of a following. And that triggered me, because I realized that in my mind, if I wouldn't do it in front of 2 million people, if I had a 2 million person audience and I wouldn't do something, or I would do something, the same then goes for me for a 2-person audience. It's like I was taking action as though it was already being seen by many, many, many people. And that, I think, who knows like why some people are successful and why others aren't. But I think that is a piece of my formula, is that I was always acting. I was always taking action as though it was being seen by a lot of people, even when it wasn't.
I love that because it's so easy to say, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why even upload? Why? And like that was true of this podcast and anybody who starts something from the beginning where you have nobody watching your stuff.
Yeah.
But you have to make that commitment to yourself that it's going to be every day or every week, and you have to keep putting it out there. And it's like, sometimes it's sad because you're like, oh, I really thought that was really a great thing that I put out there, but nobody watched it.
Right.
That's fine. You're learning. You're going to grow. The next week, you're going to get better. And then at some point, people are probably going to start watching.
Right.
It's not guaranteed. Success is not guaranteed in any art form, especially with doing something as weird as YouTubing.
Right.
But I think that if you keep going and you experiment and switch it up when things aren't working, eventually you'll probably find something to stick. And if not, you'll definitely be able to make a living, whatever that craft is, right?
Yeah.
If you're a photographer or a filmmaker, there's plenty of money out there for you to make a living doing.
Right. Even if it's not as an influencer or whatever.
Yeah, I think those are two different things.
Right.
Where it's like, that's why I encourage a lot of people to try to get into freelancing first.
Right.
Make money doing it first. Try to build a business. If you like, that is amazing to be able to do that. And then it might be easier to transition into trying to build an audience
Right.
or grow that. Because that's definitely more volatile and a little bit trickier,
Right.
I think.
Yeah. And just kind of harder to crack into. Right.
Yeah.
But so something I wanted to say to that idea of, oh no, I've lost it. I've lost
Son
it
of
now.
a bitch. Podcast over. What do you say to the creators that face roadblocks, that feel like they're stuck,
Yeah.
that don't know what to do next? What do you say to them?
You just brought it back. It's in my mind again now. That's perfect. So here's the thing. If you're facing a roadblock, if nobody, like if you're getting 6 views for a thing per video and you're like, this is good stuff, why is nobody watching this? I mean, chances are if you had something happen to you, like what happened to me, 20,000 or 40 or 1,000 people would come to you and love what you're doing and love your stuff and watch you every day, and comment on every single video. Like literally, you just haven't been seen by your people yet. Your people just haven't found you yet. So when there's roadblocks, like I think that's probably one of the biggest roadblocks that I hear about is just I'm having a hard time getting traction. I can't find anybody to watch my stuff. That to me is it's a matter of time. Like you were saying, it's a matter of time. I think creative roadblocks, if you're having a hard time coming up with ideas, whenever I'm having a hard time coming up with ideas, which isn't often, but that again is because I'm different in how my brain works. But it's normally because I have something else that's taking up a large part of my brain. I have something else that I need to be focusing my energy on. So like I can't be focusing on idea creation or idea execution. So I go and I try to take care of whatever that thing is, whether that's like a relational thing or another client project or whatever it is. And as soon as I take care of that and I kind of free my brain up to be able to start doing whatever it wants to do, that's when ideas come back. So yeah, roadblocks are just, if you're not experiencing roadblocks, there's something that's weird. You should be experiencing roadblocks if you're trying to build something awesome.
Right, or else you're not pushing yourself.
No.
How do you define how much is enough? So that's something that a lot of people get stuck on, whether it's with their salary, how much money they make every year, or how many people follow them on Instagram or YouTube. And we tend to have these ideas that, well, if I get to this place, then I'll be happy. Then it'll be perfect. If I get 100,000 subscribers, that's all I need. That's enough. How have you seen that in your life, both in terms of finances and in terms of followers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm not going to pretend like I know the answer to that question. But I think that we're kind of constantly living in this funny paradox tension where everything is kind of always infinitely enough and infinitely not enough. So what I mean by that is, if you have reached one person and positively affected one person, like that is infinitely enough. But at the same time, it's not enough because there's so many other people in the world who may need to hear your message and who could be inspired and encouraged by what you're doing. So it's infinitely not enough. In terms of money, like, you know, if you're making whatever minimum wage is for you, and you know, and you're getting by, or you're going into debt, or whatever it is, like, in a sense, that's enough because you're alive, you know, and you're making money, and everything's fine. You know, you're not dead, basically. But at the same time, if you had much more money, you would be doing more fun things. You would be having more fun experiences, and you would most likely and hopefully be helping many more people with more money. So it's infinitely not enough. So for me, it's just kind of like, it's kind of like grateful. I try to be grateful for what I have, and at the same time, tenaciously and persistently and like kind of doggedly pursuing much, much more. So again, I told you I don't know the answer.
I love that answer though, because it really does hit to the core of how paradoxical it is to be a human.
Yeah.
Because we like I say contradictory things all of the time, and I think contradictory thoughts all the time. Because I think it's like a constant push pull.
Yeah.
Where we often get out of balance with our life and where our attention is being focused, and we have to like snap back. So you know what? Maybe I should spend some more time over here. Maybe I should, you know, go to the gym or eat better and focus on that. It's a constant balancing.
Yes. This is so great. I'm having so much fun.
Are you having fun? You're
having
enjoying
a
the
lot
podcast?
of fun. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Thank you for having me on this.
Thank you for coming on. This is cool. This is one of the best things, is just to be able to meet new people and have conversations that we never otherwise would have had.
It's also just the long form. Like, you know, so I'm trying to like slice down like sometimes complex ideas into like a 6-minute format. So, but I love just talking about ideas and like, you know, with people like you who like to try to get to the core of things. So yeah, I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
It's cool. Thank you for coming on. And it's also cool because, like, I mean, I'm a fan of podcasting in general.
Yeah.
And there are so many podcasts that I admire that help me to think about things differently. And it's like an intimate experience to be able to just listen to two people talk in the privacy of their home. It's kind of it's a weird thing.
It's one of those weird things that we only now have access to because of the internet. I think about it, I get so excited.
Yeah. Well, you grew up a little bit like pre-internet.
Yep. Just barely.
Just at the cusp.
Yeah.
What was your first experience with?
We got a computer. We got a CD-ROM in the mail.
The AOL.
The AOL CD-ROM, and we plugged it in, and the modem made this like really weird noise, you know. And we were on the internet, and I think we got a thing that said, "You've got mail," and it was from AOL, and they're like, "Thanks for making an account." And yeah, I mean that. Shortly thereafter, we got Napster, and then we got LimeWire, and we started downloading as much stuff as we could illegally. And that was really my first kind of experience with the internet was like, there's so much stuff that we can just get, you know. And I didn't know that it was illegal at the time until like Napster got like shut down, you know, by the
like, oh, maybe this is bad.
Oh, maybe that's a bad thing.
I do remember like first logging on and like because like you would hear like kids in school that would get it first and you'd be like, what is this internet thing? Or you'd be at your friend's house and then you'd like see them on the internet and you're like, this is really cool.
Right.
And then when we finally got it, I just remember thinking like, well, where do I go? Like there's so much stuff. And I just remembered looking up baseball stats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool.
Right. And like the weather. Exactly. Because you didn't really know. And there was no rule book. There was no, now I think when kids get online, they kind of inherently know, like, I should go to Facebook or Google. And like Facebook and Google will show me then what to, it's kind of scary actually, but will show me what I should be looking at. And then I can kind of, or YouTube, and I can follow the track of the YouTube algorithm to like whatever, show me whatever I want to see.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing.
It is interesting. Like that's kind of that same balance of like control and no control.
Yeah.
Where we do have some control, and we can follow people and unfollow people as we want. And then we can choose to search something on YouTube, knowing that the algorithm's going to spit back more stuff like what we searched for.
Right.
But at the same time, who knows if they're throwing in other stuff in there, like the sponsored posts and stuff.
Right.
There's a lack of control as well.
Yeah.
Where we're like, all right, like, whatever they show me is what I'm going to click on.
Right.
And then you just go in this rabbit hole, and then you're on the internet for like 8 hours just watching random stuff.
16 days of just of a binge of YouTube, right?
How do you make sure that you're actually getting your work done and you're not getting distracted?
The daily vlog has been incredibly helpful for that, because it cut away, it sliced away any excess time that I had. So I actually find myself watching way less YouTube videos now that I have a vlog that I feel like I had the responsibility to do a good job at. And yeah, so if I do start watching, generally when I start watching a video, when it's 3 minutes into it, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to turn this off. I have stuff to do, and it didn't used to be like that. I used to watch Casey Neistat for hours and hours on end.
I think that's like most people, is like that you're consuming a lot early on, and it inspires you to want to create yourself.
Right.
And then you get into it yourself. And then, of course, you're spending so much time creating that you don't really have the same amount of time to consume.
Yep.
Was there, watching vlogs is a lot of fun. It's exciting. It's cool. It's very personal.
Yeah.
Compare that to making vlogs. It's a bit of a different experience.
Yeah. So when you start making it, you get really intrigued by the process of what goes into making a vlog. I remember when I saw the Nerdwriter kind of breakdown of Casey, what goes into a Casey Neistat vlog, and it's something that I play on almost every time I do it now in my vlog. But like the set up the camera, walk away, walk past frame, come back to camera, pick up camera, go on with your day. Casey had never showed us any of that except for the walk past frame, right? So with the first time I saw, and we all know, like we intellectually know that was happening, but the first time I saw Nerdwriter do that and be like, that's what he's doing every time, so let's talk about what goes into making a vlog. It's that, but every day, every action I'm making, whether I'm choosing to vlog it or not, whether I'm choosing to include it or not, it's just such an interesting. I'm thinking like, well, why did Peter decide to include that but not the other thing? Or, what decisions, when you start making those own decisions yourself, it starts making you think about all of it, the whole process. And so a lot of my vlogs are about vlogging, because it's something I think about so often.
Right. And there's so many decisions that go into it. And I think that's what actually allows you to let go of being worried about what people think, because or that I'm going to copy somebody, or that it's going to be similar to somebody else's, because you're making 1,000 decisions that's going to be so much different than the person vlogging next to you will make.
Right.
Let's do some quick questions.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap the podcast up. It's quick questions, not quick answers, so feel free
all right.
to expand
Thanks
and
for that
elaborate
distinction. That's
as
good.
you will. I know. All right, quick questions. If you could go back to 20 years old, what would you do differently?
This is a tough one, because I wouldn't do anything differently, obviously, because I love where I'm at right now.
Liar. You get a time machine, you can go back.
I really do. I do think about time travel often.
Yeah.
And, the whole, the time traveler's wife, this whole idea that you make one little, or butterfly effect, you make one little change and it changes everything. It's like, well, I didn't mean to do that. But so if we could do it without any repercussions,
if you could give advice, I think the general thing is advice for 20-year-olds, people who are leaving college.
Yeah.
What did you do that maybe caused you some unnecessary anguish?
Yep. Yeah. I would just say you have much more time available to you than you think you do, both in your life, but also just day to day. I felt like my schedule was maxed out when I was a 20-year-old. I felt like I didn't have any time to do anything, and I was like, I just got to work and get my schoolwork done, and then I'm gonna take a nap, and then I'm gonna play frisbee, and I just felt like, oh, my life is so hectic. And I think realizing the amount of time and freedom over your schedule that you have as a 20-year-old, before you have some of these bigger responsibilities, depending on, everyone's life is different, right? But you get more responsibilities the more, as you age. And just realizing you have a really good thing going for you, and you can really do whatever you want to do, and like do it, take action. Just take more action. I didn't take enough action as a 20-year-old. I just kind of was letting my life happen to me more. And again, I wouldn't change it. I love where it brought me to. I love kind of the wisdom that I acquired through the pain of not taking enough action. But the repercussions of some of those actions or inactions back then, I'm still dealing with and handling now. So take action. Like if there's something you want to fix, if there's something you want to make, if there's something you want to do, fix it, make it, do it.
Yeah, I think too many people push things to later. Like,
Yeah.
well, I need to work and make money and do this now and follow the safe path. But then later I'll pursue my dreams, or I'll travel when I'm retired at 65 years old. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, you're going to be old. It's not going to be as exciting. And hey, maybe you actually don't like travel.
Yeah.
Maybe like working your entire life to get to this destination where you didn't even try it. You didn't
Right.
even know if that was something that you were going to like. So
Right.
maybe like experiment too,
Yeah.
right? And just try different things and figure out what your passions are.
Gotta be experimenting. It's like the only way that we know as humans to be able to find facts.
Just not with hard drugs. I mean, no, not hard drugs. Maybe
Right.
soft drugs.
Not hard drugs. And definitely, glean wisdom from others. Read books. Like read as many books as you can. That was a 4-hour work week concept that you just threw down right there,
Yeah,
which is
for
like
sure.
take these little mini retirements throughout your whole life, as opposed to waiting for one big retirement where you don't even know what to do anymore because you've never had a retirement. So travel for 2 weeks, every year, or 4 weeks, or whatever it is. But yeah, read as many books as you can, and get around people, like you said earlier, around people who you feel like are going to be pulling you towards where you want to be.
Was there a book that has had the biggest impact on your life?
The book I try
Or
to
books that you come back to a lot?
right. The books that I come back to, I really love books. I do audiobooks, so I don't actually read books, but when I listen to books, there's just let's say is Richard Branson's Finding My Virginity. I think Finding My Virginity, losing.
Is that true?
His first book is Losing My Virginity.
Oh, really?
And then I think his second his
Sexton.
Sexton,
That's a
Sexton,
Freudian
but that
slip
was
right
real
there.
good. Second book is Finding My Virginity, and then the last one that he writes, he said before he dies, is going to be called Virginity Found.
That's great.
But yeah, Finding My Virginity was one of the, Branson is like this insane entrepreneur with like hundreds of companies and ideas and systems built, and was just extremely inspiring to me to see what he thought about balance and life and work and play and all of that stuff. So I'm going to throw that out there.
Great book.
Another impossible question that you've given to me.
Sure, absolutely. I'm trying. That's why they're quick questions.
Right.
I'm trying to stick you at the very end.
Good.
This one hopefully is just as hard. Is there one universal skill that you think all creators should learn? Like a skill, or maybe like a mindset, something that they can take with them and try to implement into their work?
I would say that would be story, the art and science of story. It's there's stuff that we can learn, we can read about how to tell stories, how to how to make compelling stories. But maybe even more than that, just starting to tell stories as much as you can and figuring out your own way of telling a compelling story and thinking about your own stories. I think one of the saddest things to me is when someone says, I'm not a good storyteller, or I don't have any good stories. We all have stories. We have really good stories. It's just that I don't think we've all been kind of taught that they're good. I think we've been taught that our lives are boring, like you mentioned earlier, and they're not. Our lives aren't boring. Regardless of what you're doing, your life isn't boring. There are compelling and wonderful lessons and stories to draw out of every single life, I think.
when you're working on building a story, how do you know what to keep in, what to cut out, how to make it compelling, and how do you know when you're done?
I think the hardest thing about documentary filmmaking is that I don't think documentaries ever feel like they're done. We actually are just about to release a documentary is being released that we were the crew on, and the editing process is like impossible.
Oh my god!
You know, you just can't. The story never feels like it's finished, and so it is just a constant experimentation. You need the limitation of an upload schedule, and I can bring it back to YouTube in that way, but like, let's just call it a deadline then.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a deadline, you will keep on working on that thing until you die, because it's never going to feel finished. But if you give yourself kind of the grace and like the freedom to fail in it, you'll be able to figure out how to do it better the next time.
Yeah, I think maybe the practice in the smaller projects helps. If you're going to jump up and make a feature-length documentary, there's so many other battles that you're going to face, and there's nothing more comfortable than being in the edit and actually being able to change things. But the minute that you send it to get color graded, or the minute that you click export for that the final time,
right,
it's just like you have all these doubts of like, oh, maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have done this.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have tweaked that. And it's usually the smallest of changes at that point, because towards the end of a big project, there's only so much that you could realistically change that would change the overall tone and feel of a film.
You can't reshoot Act 2. It's like, it just is what it is at that point. And you have to understand that. That's okay. That's okay that you probably, like, coming to grips with the idea that you probably didn't do it right, I think is one of the most freeing things for me. It's probably not in its most perfect form. It probably isn't. Like, I made wrong decisions, I'm sure. And like, that's what I'm talking about with perfection and kind of the constant pursuit of it, is that's okay. It's what life is. Imperfect.
Just to be okay. And knowing, I think, really truly understanding that it wasn't as good as it could be, and that's okay.
It wasn't.
Because the next one's going to be better. And yeah.
Or you can try. I actually just asked Jack Coyne that. Colin and Samir had Jack Coyne over when I was there with them. I was like, Jack, what are you thinking about the most? He's like, how to make my next video better. And I'm like, yeah, how are you doing that? How are you making your next videos better? He's like, well, I'm not sure that I am. It's a pursuit, but there's no guarantees.
Yeah. And I think it's like an up and down battle too, where like you constantly fight it, you constantly have to put stuff out there. And I think just like those subtle changes over your life, you're not going to see it when it's happening. But if you look back 2 years ago, you're going to notice a huge difference in quality and style, and like how you're communicating your message and your voice. Like we were talking about authenticity, like all that stuff is going to improve over time. If you keep making stuff,
you keep grinding.
What advice have you received in the past that's stuck with you the most?
We've talked about so much. We've talked about so many things.
We've dropped so much advice
that I've gleaned from my past. I'm trying to think of something fresh. Yeah, let's go there. That relationships need to be a priority. Your community and tight relationships, like the close ones, the top 3, let's say. Get your best friend, get a partner. You know what I mean? Those people, your parents, right? Like, don't let that stuff fall by the wayside. Like, I'm a very career-minded individual, and I'm driven, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I want to make a lot of money, and I want to build a lot of things. And like, it's easy for me it would be easy for me had I not gotten that advice, to be like, that stuff can wait. Like, I'm driving, I'm getting this, and so to constantly kind of temper that drive and ambition with understanding, but relationships are the most important thing, I think is crucial.
Right, because otherwise, why are we working? Why are we doing this? Why are we creating if we're not able to spend time with the people we love?
Enjoying the fruits or...
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest regret if you put your head down. No matter how much you love your work, no matter how much it adds to other people's lives that you don't know, I think it's so important to make sure that we're in touch with those that are closest to us.
Yeah.
Cool, man. This was great. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks so much again.
Do you have any final words? And of course, the best way to reach you online.
Yeah, I believe we've literally said everything. I don't have anything left to say. We've said all the things.
We did. Yeah, we covered everything that you could possibly think of.
I actually, you don't need to actually watch another piece of my content ever.
We got it all?
We got it all right here. Yeah, so online, my channels are Cody Wanner. That's on YouTube. WANNER. Rhymes with honor if you want to pronounce it, but I don't care how you pronounce it as long as you're saying it. That's awesome. And on Instagram, I'm Cody Wanner, and on Twitter, I'm Cody Wanner.
Cool, man. Thanks for doing the show.
Thanks so much.
And that's the podcast for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to find out more about this podcast, you can go to groundupshow.com. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you next week.